Have you ever noticed how rice gets a lot bigger when you cook it because it absorbs all that water? Well, today we're going to try and find out how much water it can absorb. So I'm going to take about 100 grams of rice and cook it, which is not something I do very often, I must admit. All my time's taken up with these maths experiments. So first of all, we set our scales to 0, and you'll notice I'm using the kilogram scales, but if you've only got the gram ones, that's fine, of course. And my ladle, just in case my hands aren't as clean as they should be. And I'm going to put a big ladle full of rice in there, and so I've got about 100 grams. If you get this all over the floor, you have a lot of clearing up to do. There we are, 0.095, and you remember that's 95 grams, so just a tiny bit more. 96, 97, 98. Oh, look at that, exactly. 0.100, which is 100 grams. So there's 100 grams of dry rice in there, into the pan. Now I'm going to put some cold water in there and boil it for a few minutes, and then I'll show you the results. Okay, so the rice is cooked, there it is. What I'm going to do now is set the scales to 0. Take the rice over to the sink and sieve it with my trusty sieve here to get rid of all this surplus water we don't want, and then I'm going to bring it back and put it in the bowl, and let's see how we get on. Okay, here we go. Just 1 or 2 grains left in the pan, but I'm not going to burn my fingers trying to get them out. Now, I'm not sure if you can see that clearly on the video, but it's now saying 0.272. That's 272 grams, of course, which is a lot more than it was when it was dry, isn't it? Now, when it was dry, it was 100 grams. Now it's 272. Well, you could probably do that in your head. I certainly hope you can. So it's 172 grams difference. In other words, 100 grams of rice has absorbed 172 grams of water. That's more than 1.5 times its own weight. Now, this is basmati rice, and there are many different types of rice, of course. The question is, do they all absorb the same amount of water, or does it vary depending on the type of rice? Well, that's an experiment you can look into. And you can also see if you can find other things to cook that will absorb water in the same way. But don't forget, that's very hot. Do be careful. Darling, dinner's ready.